These are the 10 craziest comebacks in football history. 10. Liverpool versus Barcelona. When Barcelona beat Liverpool 3-0 in the first leg of the Champions League semi-final in 2019, everyone thought the tie was over. Liverpool were without Salah and Firmino in the second leg. It looked like there was no hope for the Reds to turn things around. But the Reds did the unthinkable at Anfield, beating Barcelona 4-0 to win 4-3 on aggregate and win the title that year. Till date, the words "quarter taken quickly" still haunt Barcelona fans because of that game. And that year was the year of comebacks because in the same round of that same tournament, another insane comeback was pulled off by another English club. 9. Spurs versus Ajax. Ajax were on fire in 2019. After knocking out Ronaldo's Juventus and defending champions Real Madrid, they faced Spurs in the semis. They won the first leg 1-0, and by halftime of the second leg, they were leading 2-0 on the night, 3-0 on aggregates. At that point, we all could see Ajax in the final. Who's going to save this caneless Spurs? Lucas Moura said, "I will." In what was one of the greatest solo Champions League performances ever, Moura scored a hat-trick to single-handedly drag Spurs into their first ever Champions League final. And what made this even crazier was that the clinching goal came in the 96th minute. Bro, the coach, the players, the fans, everybody went absolutely crazy. What a comeback. But it's not every time that comebacks happen over two legs. Sometimes it all starts and ends in one game, like the game between Manchester City and QPR. This was the game which won Man City the Premier League for the first time ever. Going into the last game of the season, the mathematics was simple for City: win and they'd be champions. And the game actually started out well for them with the first half goal from Zabaleta. But in the second half, things took a very horrible turn. QPR went 2-1 up with goals in the 48th and 66th minutes, and they looked ready to keep things that way until the end. QPR themselves were trying to avoid relegation, so they were not going to just throw away the game. The London club held the lead till the 90 minutes was up, so at the end of normal time, City needed 2 goals. Dzeko grabbed one in the 92nd minute, and at this time, Man United's game against Sunderland had ended, so if City didn't score again, their neighbors would be champions. With the stakes higher than they had ever been, Sergio Aguero stepped up and scored the greatest goal of his entire career to complete the comeback and win Man City their first ever Premier League title on goal difference. It was absolutely insane. But fast forward 10 years later, and Man City were pulling off another insane comeback on the last day of the Premier League season again. 7. Man City versus Aston Villa. This time around, it was Liverpool who were threatening City's crown, and they thought Gerrard and Coutinho were about to do them huge favors on the last day of the season. Cash opened the scoring for Villa in the 37th minute, and Coutinho doubled it in the 69th minute. So, with 20 minutes left on the clock, City needed 3 goals to successfully defend their Premier League crown. Gundogan gave City hope with a goal in the 76th minute, and 2 minutes later, Rodri equalized. And then in the 81st minute, Gundogan was at the right place at the right time to score the title-clinching goal for Man City. Yet again, they had pulled off a dramatic comeback on the last day of the season to win the Premier League title. But comeback memories for Man City aren't all good though. After all, that same season, they suffered one of the craziest comebacks in Champions League history. 6. Real Madrid versus Man City. Real Madrid had a fairy tale run in the Champions League in 2022, but everybody swore it would be over when they met Pep's Man City in the semi-final. Los Blancos had pulled off comebacks against PSG and Chelsea in the round of 16 and quarterfinal, but surely they couldn't do it for the third round in a row. But they did! City won the first leg 4-3 and opened the scoring of the second leg in the 73rd minute. So at that point, we all thought it was over. Madrid needed 2 goals in about 15 minutes. Where were they going to come from? From me, Rodrigo said. The Brazilian wonderkid scored in the 90th and 91st minutes to force extra time. Then Benzema closed things up with a penalty 5 minutes in, and just like that, the great City was demolished. But is that the greatest comeback from Real Madrid in the Champions League? Perhaps not. 5. Real Madrid versus Wolfsburg. In the 2016 quarterfinal, Wolfsburg shocked the world when they came out of the first leg with a 2-goal win against Madrid. Well, many must have lost hope ahead of the second leg. Cristiano Ronaldo told Real Real Madrid fans to support the team and be part of what could be a magical perfect night. See, when the GOAT talks, you just have to listen, because magical and perfect was what the night actually turned out to be. Before the clock got to 20 minutes in the second leg, Ronaldo had already scored twice to level things up. Then in the 77th minute, he single-handedly completed the comeback with this kick. Absolutely bonkers! You just had to be there. Anyway, I would like you to single-handedly like this video and subscribe to the channel. Or hey, you can press the buttons with both hands if you want. It's a free world. For Barcelona versus AC Milan. Milan had beaten Barcelona 2-0 in the first leg of the round of 16 tie in San Siro in 2013. And considering that nobody had ever come back from a 2-goal deficit in Champions League history, we expected the Italian giants to go through. But Lionel Messi said, "Not on my watch." He brought things level on aggregate with goals in the 5th and 45th minutes. And then David Villa and Jordi Alba finished the job with goals in the 55th and 92nd minutes respectively, from 2-0 to 2-4. What a comeback. But if you think a 4-2 comeback is insane, how about 7-5? 3. Arsenal versus Reading. Arsenal faced Reading in the 4th round of the League Cup in 2012 and produced one of the greatest comebacks ever and the highest scoring game in League Cup history. And you know what made it so interesting? It all happened in one game. No second leg or anything like that. In the first half, Reading looked like they were running away with it. 4-0 already in the 37th minute? Crazy. But Arsenal drew one back just before halftime, and that gave them all the motivation they needed for the second half. Giroud 64, Koscielny 89, and Walcott 90 plus 6, and Arsenal managed to force extra time. In extra time, the drama started all over again. Arsenal went ahead in the 103rd minute, Reading equalized in the 115th, and when we thought we were going to settle for penalties, Arsenal snatched the game with 2 goals in the 121st and 123rd minutes. It was an absolute roller coaster of a match, an insane comeback, and one of the greatest games I've ever watched. But it's surely not greater than La Remontada. 2. Barcelona versus PSG. I'm sure you all know the story. PSG won the first leg of this round of 16 tie 4-0 against Barcelona, and everybody swore it was over after that. Well, except the Barcelona players and coach. Ahead of the second leg, Luis Enrique said, "If they can score 4, we can score 6. And what do you think Barcelona went on to do? They indeed scored 6. It was looking hopeless when Cavani scored in the 62nd minute and made the game 3-1. But then that only made Neymar enter beast mode. He scored a free kick in the 88th minute, a penalty in the 91st, and in the 95th minute of the game, he threw in a Hail Mary into the box, and this happened. Largest ever comeback in the history of the Champions League. Barcelona had done it again. All that is fantastic, but can you do it in a Champions League final? Number 1, Liverpool versus AC Milan. At halftime of the 2005 Champions League final, Liverpool were already 3-0 down. How on earth were they going to come back? I'm sure many Liverpool fans left the stadium and those at home turned off their TVs, but those that remained were treated to the greatest comeback ever. Gerrard scored in the 54th minute, Smeacher scored in the 56th, and in the 61st minute, Xabi Alonso missed a penalty but scored from the rebound to bring things level and take the game to extra time. Nothing changed in extra time, so the game went into penalties, where Liverpool went on to complete the turnaround and lift the Champions League. That entire game was just unreal, bro. So crazy, it was named the Miracle of Istanbul. If you still don't believe in miracles, go back and watch that game.